Yes, thanks to you, Mr. Malinowski, Congressman, and I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. It's fascinating, everything I hear from three of you. We all agree, I think, that we want to continue being the shining city on the hill, that we are the only game in town because the Russians and the Iranians and the Chinese are really not going to promote anything close to democracy or freedom. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Destro, and I think that your statement was highly enlightening. So when you say that we got to ask ourselves hard questions, that the title of the hearing is not necessarily what we need to be looking at, we agreed that we want some return on our investment, that we want to promote democracy. That's what we're here for. And it's a little bit disturbing to hear that we've spent so much and the return has been so little. So just give me an example of in the last, let's say in the last 4 years or in the last 10 years, what have we done wrong? What did we do wrong in the last 4 years with Biden? I'm sure that there were some monies going to good programs, but you know, perception is reality. And when we hear that there's going to be $12 million for the Guatemalans, for the native Guatemalans to have a sex change operation, you know, that doesn't really sound really good. So what did we do wrong in the last 4 years, and what did we do wrong in the last 10 years? Put it into perspective for us, please.
Well, with respect, I think that's a bit of the wrong question. I think the question is, what are we doing right? Okay, so then tell me which one is the right question. What are we doing right? And what are we doing right? Yeah, what are we doing right? Okay. Okay, and you know, Congressman Malinowski and I talked about this when I was in office, and this question of, as the DRL Assistant Secretary, you have 1.5 billion tools at your disposal in the ESF and Human Rights Fund. You also have $40 billion worth of really committed professional people working with you on those projects. And so the question becomes, where's the best place to put them? Now, all of those places that you just talked about, the sex change operations, everything else, that's not the best way to put it. It doesn't really advance our foreign policy. Correct. So you agree that we need to change that vision? I do. Leave wokeness and go back to democracy. I think we need to foster freedom, right? Right. And that's why I use Belize as the example. Here is a great small country they're trying to figure out, should we keep the king? Should we stay in the Caribbean Court of Justice? Should we revise our Constitution? You know, and where's our embassy? Nowhere, right? Where's Millennium Challenge? Pushing that same agenda you just talked about. So this reorganization of the State Department that you just mentioned under Marco Rubio now, so if you were his advisor, what were the three things that you would tell him in order to have our return on investment to be really high? Well, I think the first thing I would do is make sure, and this is one of the things that I tried to do as Assistant Secretary, is to make sure that the Assistant Secretary, who has statutory authority to maintain constant oversight of that funding, both humanitarian and oversight. Yeah, oversight. Number two. Right? And we don't. And you know, and I know it's fair to say, well, what do you mean you don't? And I had to spend $1 million to put together a database to pull it all together. And so oversight of where the money is going. That's oversight over where the money is going, who's spending it, and it doesn't matter whether it's in state or HHS, because there's human rights and humanitarian funding all over the government. And so the first thing would be, let's figure out where the money's going. All right, so you're telling me that we do not know as a government where the money is going? No, we don't. Oh, well, we're only spending taxpayers' money, all right? But that's your power of the purse. If you don't know, then you don't have any effective oversight. You mean Congress, I'm sorry, or the State Department officials? I'm talking about, this is a dual joint executive Congress thing. You have the power of the purse, and you have the right to see how the money's being spent, and you're not getting it. That's my point. And then that would be the most important advice you would give to the Secretary of State? Is make sure that there is at least one person, if not more, who has continuous oversight and can demand to oversight of that money. And I can tell you stories, I won't bother to burden the record now, but I basically faced absolute insubordination when I tried to get that. And assistant secretaries really don't have the authority to take personnel actions like that, but the fact of the matter is that I was told I didn't have any right to see the money.
Thank you. I don't want to overextend to my time. So I now recognize Ranking Member Castor